as a Detroiter under 30, I should say, living here, working here in the city, how's it contributed to your personal and professional development?
In many ways, like the first way I guess I can mention is regards to the history that Detroit has. Being able to lean onto that history kind of as, I guess it's like a launching pad for me to do some of the things that I do, because I'm not building off just like a shaky foundation. Things have happened before me, and I try to learn from those things in order to kind of spring me forward. But also Detroit, I've been privileged to be here because it's a place where you can, I guess I call it horizontal networking, where I can build with my peers. I don't know many other places in this country that has the young, rich talent that Detroit has and like-minded folks where we can build together. So that's been a huge plus in everything, my professional, personal, the whole nine.
All right. With that, from your perspective, what avenues exist for fellow Detroiters under 30 to establish their careers and build fulfilling lives in the city of Detroit?
So there are some, but before I even get into the question, I think we need more. I think that there has to be a better pipeline for young people to become leaders in this city. It has to be better succession plans. It has to be more of the baton being passed. Oftentimes I go into rooms, I'm the youngest one there. Whether that's a block club meeting, a city meeting, whatever the case may be, young people have to feel more welcomed in these spaces to kind of, literally take on whatever the next generation might need in terms of leadership. But there are still some avenues for us to get engaged. Community-wise, again, events like this, for one, starting off, when you're able to collaborate with folks, you can share ideas, you can get put in positions, you can do the whole nine. So events like this, other mentorship type of things, even with the city of Detroit, they have a young Department of Neighborhoods department. And what that whole entire department is supposed to be doing is helping young Detroiters kind of get tapped into leadership positions and how the city runs and functions. So you got other networking things. You got Black Tech Saturdays, a plethora of different spaces. We run 313, a couple other social groups where young professionals are trying to get together to kind of brainstorm and network. But those are a few that I would kind of go off top of.
Yeah, it's interesting you speak to that because last year at State of Black Detroit, most of the time I believe you were engaging and interacting with Baba Gibson. Baba Victor Gibson, if people know, definitely involved in so many different works in community. It was deep just seeing that exchange and what happened this year even for you. So when you talk about more avenues, I definitely want to add this and challenge you on when you say that avenues and gateways for leadership and passing that baton, right? What could that look like for someone else? But more so, what does that look like for you for how you've been given access to opportunity from people older than you?
Man, I've been a sponge. I've really been a sponge to Detroit's, our elders, Baba Malika Keeney, Baba Gibson, Mama Moore. The list can go on about people who I've literally, I call before I make certain decisions. You know what I'm saying? Because they've seen it. They've been able to walk it. And I respect their knowledge, their wisdom. And so in spaces, again, I work in education and youth development. Detroit has a long history of that. And not just a history, folks who are 70, 80 years old still in the fight, right? So if you find yourself in the right spaces, city council meetings, school board meetings, things of that sort, you're going to interact with those individuals. One of the most, I think, impactful conversations I had over the past couple of years that kind of led me down this path was with Baba Malika Keeney. I was home from college, and this was, I want to say, 2018, and I was just volunteering at D-Town Farms. He didn't know me. I didn't really know him like that. And we just started talking. He told me about the importance of institution building and not just, doing just one-off type of things, but building institutions to solve short and long-term problems. And that changed my whole framework, just that one simple conversation, and how Umoja was built, how the Howard Family Bookstore was built, Umoja Village, the whole nine. So being intentional about seeking knowledge from those who've already done it is something that I kind of take very, very serious.
Okay, and this picks up with some of where Piper left off, leveraging technology. How have digital tools, social platforms, and virtual spaces supported your community building efforts and expanded your reach among younger audiences?
Man, so technology has been a huge ally in what I've been able to build up to this point. It allowed me to connect with folks digitally and in person, right? Sharing events, sharing my story, letting others connect to that story, finding commonalities in that. Once you put it out there, right, like the people gonna see it. For the most part, if you're consistent. There's some algorithm stuff to go on there as well. But it's allowed me just a platform to share what I do with more people. In my community, I found them, but they found me as well. A lot of the team members that I have on Umoja, some of them I met through social media, and they've been solid since that point. You know what I'm saying? So without the interaction, I don't know if I would have met them, whatever the case may be. We can't make it to every single event in person. So that just allowed me that platform to build a broader audience.
In what ways do you challenge yourself to stay connected with community elders? And why do you believe these relationships are essential for Detroit's future?
Man, Detroit, again, I spoke to a little bit earlier, but the history that we have here, sometimes we don't even know what we walking past. I recently just learned about Baba Ed Vine, who owned the bookstore. And lo and behold, my path right now, I'm opening up a bookstore. I believe he had the first Black-owned bookstore in the city of Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. And I've been learning about his history, unfortunately, after he passed away. But just that knowledge that he probably would be able to pass down to me about running the business, some of the do's and don'ts, the whole nine, it might have probably would have saved me a lot of headache that I'm probably going to kind of embark on this next year of opening up my own bookstore. But again, we're not building on just blank canvases. Detroit has a history of Black power. And so it's extremely, extremely important for the younger generation to lean on the elders, and for the elders to be able to pass this information down to us so that we can make good use of it to continue the mission for Black Detroit. So I'm very intentional about it. Like I said, very, very important decisions that I make. Baba Malika Kini gets a call, Baba Gibson gets a call to kind of see, has this happened before in a different type of scenario? How can I move us forward? What should I be talking to when I go into these rooms? So I'm not just going there as Jerjuan, but all of that knowledge and from the decades before me, it's also walking into that room with me.
Could you describe a time when you felt unprepared because of your youth, yet discovered that your fresh perspective and resilience actually proved invaluable in the situation?
You know what I'm saying? I have Umoja Village, which is an outdoor community space. It has a garden, a stage, but it's an outdoor space. We built it from the ground up, and I consider it development, but I've never developed a full-blown building. This building's sat vacant for like 25 years that I'm redeveloping right now. And so with that, right, like I ain't experiencing this. I got some carpentry skills here and there, but I've never done a project to this degree. And I was sitting with that one night and just trying to map out my plans. I write everything down in this little notebook that I have. And as I was writing stuff down, I'm like, oh, this kind of is a blank canvas in my head. I'm not jaded by past experiences. I don't have the knowledge of what doesn't work because I never did it. So I'm moving forward in a positive way. And I guess my youth and my inexperience in that case is an advantage for me because my mindset is going to happen like X, Y, and Z, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I guess that's an example, if that makes sense, where my inexperience really is a benefit for me.
So with that being said, I definitely have to add on a tag for this one, because taking on projects like that, how do you look at resourcing something like that as more is always looked at? The inspector, this supply, or this is needed or that is needed, and you're learning in that arc. How do you keep that motivation of saying like, okay, this is a blank canvas and this is where I'm going to go as obstacles do come before you?
Man, where there's a will, there's a way. To be honest, it's just really that simple for me. As obstacles come, and I anticipated it. You know what I'm saying? When I first looked at the building, I seen like, okay, got some stuff I need to take care of. And so I already made mental notes. I wrote some of this stuff down as well. I talked to other people that develop things. They got to go through the inspections with the city, which can be a headache. They got to go through the whole nine, dealing with contractors, all of that. I already kind of have all of those things in my head about what could go wrong. And I try to be very, very, very strategic about planning my steps to the point where even if a mishap does happen, it's a plan of action for it to kind of follow up with it. And that takes patience. You know what I'm saying? That takes a little bit of audacity. But I'm in it for the fight, so it is what it is.
And the last point on that, before we transition, and this is a great gateway into closing out with our last presenter, how do you involve the collective around decisions like that? because there will be so many decisions made about this bookstore. How do you create something where this becomes a collective for community and not just necessarily like a dogmatic vision
Yep.
that is of self?
Yep. So to give you some context to it, I grew up about 6 blocks away from this bookstore location. My best friend grew up on that same exact block. So this is my neighborhood for real, for real. But even me not even trying to just, I know what's best for my neighborhood, because I might not. I'm right now conducting a community survey. And that survey asks the community very specific questions. Not only what type of books they want to see inside the bookstore, fiction, nonfiction, Black history, comics, the whole nine, but also what programming you want to see in there, what organizations or businesses within this community you think are missing. So the community is literally telling me what's going to be in the bookstore and what the bookstore going to look like and how it's going to function. I plan to only hire folks that live within a 5-mile radius of that address. So the whole it's a community bookstore, real talk. Like, it's really a community hub from the way we're framing it out. Everybody has a stake in it. And what they tell me that they want inside that bookstore, programming wise and books, that's what's going to be in there.